Hey everyone, this is YourDoom, and welcome to the free sample and information video from my third video series, Advanced Tactics, How to Beat Small, Medium, and High Stakes at over 10 BBs per 100. So what I'm going to show you here is a free sample hand, and my main focus in this free sample hand is going to be the flop action in a multi-way pot. So this is just going to be a little taste of what you can find in this video series, and let's get right to the action. So under the gun is going to make a standard open for 3x, and technically we can actually consider this under the gun plus 1 because we're playing 5-handed in this spot. So this player has opened, the button is going to defend, and the action is going to be on us. So with pocket fours facing this action, I'm absolutely going to overcall. I'm absolutely going to flat here with pocket fours in the big blind. I'm flatting this hand 100% of the time in this position. Now I definitely want to point out that which hands to flat and in which positions we flat those hands is certainly something that's going to be thoroughly covered in this video series. But like I said before, that's not really what I want to focus on in this hand here. So like I said, in this free sample hand, I really want to focus on the flop action as a very, very interesting spot that most people don't capitalize on is about to come up for us here. But before we go ahead and move on with this hand, I just want to say a few quick things about myself and about this series. So I know many of you have read my story about how I came up through the poker ranks, but just in case you haven't, these are my results since I started tracking results back in July of 2007. So this is about 5 years of tracked results where you can see that I'm running at an expected value of 10 BBs per 100 over that time frame. And my lifetime win rate is actually much higher than is shown here, because if you had read my story, then you would know that before I even started saving hand histories, before I even knew what hand histories were, I was actually winning at a much higher rate than that prior to this. So people ask me, well, how do you win at over 10 BBs per 100? What are you doing that's so different than everyone else? Well, it's no trick. I don't have any special scripts or secret software or anything like that. I mean, honestly, I didn't even start to use a HUD at all until around 2011, which was even after the year in 2010 that I had the overall top earnings at NL2K on Pokerstars. I mean, what I've done for the bulk of my career is I just sat down and played poker. Now keep in mind the poker landscape is much different nowadays, and since then I've become an absolute expert in setting up and utilizing my HUD and using all the advantages of all the new technologies available out there. And that is certainly one topic we'll be covering in great detail throughout this series. But getting back to the question, how exactly do I win at such a high rate? Well, it's really an accumulation of many things, and all of those things are exactly what I'm going to show you in this video series. For well over a year now, I have been stockpiling and polishing a massive amount of my best information, specifically preparing for the release of this series, which I am now converting into and releasing on video for the first time ever. I've been coaching No Limit Texas Hold'em, and I know exactly where the majority of you small, middle, and even high-stakes players are lacking, and exactly what advanced tactics that you don't currently have in your poker arsenals. This series is much longer than my previous two. It's a fully comprehensive series, rendering all other non-YourDoom No Limit Hold'em video series obsolete. And what I mean by that is I've had customers come to me saying, well, I think I need to buy this other guy's series because it covers a topic that you haven't yet covered on video. But that's all over with now. YourDoomPoker.com is now, with the release of this series, the only place you need to go for No Limit Hold'em training. My goal is that after watching all 3 of my No Limit Hold'em series, you will know how to play No Limit Texas Hold'em with an absolute airtight foundation, and will be playing with a full arsenal of my most advanced lines and techniques. You'll have the same knowledge that I have at this game, having beaten almost every limit at over 10 BBs per 100 since the inception of my online poker career. In addition to the videos, with your purchase, like with all of my series, you also receive a lifetime membership to the private course forum where you can post hands and discuss all the concepts of this course with me and with other course members. Now I have a long list of some pretty awesome testimonials from students on my website that you're all very, very welcome to come read, but I just want to quickly show you one in particular. This student recently did a 10-hour coaching package with me, and he was kind enough to show his before and after graph. So as you can see, before he met me, he was a winning player. This is his graph, and these are his before stats. So as you can see here, he was winning at a little over 3 BBs per 100 right here, with an all-in EV of maybe a little less than that, with much of his volume being played at NL 400. But after our sessions and after teaching him the content that is now available in this video series, You can see that his win rate not only greatly went up to well over 8 BBs per 100, even though he's now actually winning below all-in expectation, but that he also had that improvement in win rate at what is now most of his volume occurring at NL1K. And here is his corresponding after coaching graph. So what else is in this course? Well, the complete course outline to the series is now online at my website, YourDoomPoker.com, so I'm going to invite you all to go ahead and check that out. But getting back to this hand here, like I said earlier, we're absolutely going to flat this spot where it's a standard overcall with pocket fours. And we missed the flop. So we've missed, we're out of position, we really have no hand and no draw, so we decide to go ahead and check. But then something interesting happens. The original opener, the original raiser here, decides to go ahead and check as well. And the player who was flatting the button in position decides to go ahead and bet versus this missed c-bet. So this is the spot that I really want to examine. I think most of you in this case just go ahead and fold this spot, having not really given it too much thought, and then just move on to play another hand. But what I want to do here is to fully examine our other options rather than just folding. So first of all, and I hope you agree, I think this player in position is probably betting with a very wide range. I mean, he's in position, two players have already checked to him. This is a great spot for him to just bet, play his position, and to just try to take down this pot with his entire range. And the reason that this is a good bet for him to make is, well, because it usually works. I mean, like I said, most players in our position are usually folding at this point. The original opener went ahead and checked. He decided not to c-bet in a three-way pot, which generally means weakness, so he's likely folding as well. And if you look at the math behind this, this $120 bet only has to work, given that he's risking 120 to win 190, it only has to work about 39% of the time to be plus EV. But unfortunately for this guy, we are not folding. We are raising to 320. Okay, so let's break this down. We're going to start by taking a look at this player's range in this spot. So we're assuming that he's flatted the button with a standard 12% call open on the button, which I am approximating here, and that he is now betting versus miss c-bet with this entire range. So all of these flatting ranges will be thoroughly covered throughout the series, but just real quick, I'll go over what we actually find in a regular flatting on the button. You can see that he's flatting any pocket pair that he's not 3-betting. I'm going to assume here that he's always 3-betting queens. That's why queens is not part of his range. I'm going to assume that he is 3-betting aces and kings half the time. As you can see by the dark blue, I only have 3 combinations of each. That could be in his flatting range here. So I'm assuming, all things being equal, maybe he's flatting aces and kings half the time. Maybe he's 3-betting aces and kings half the time. I'm assuming in his range that he's always 3-betting a hand like ace-king, a hand like ace-jack and king-queen, which we'll get into in detail in the series. And that all the other hands here are part of his general flatting range. I have suited connectors, I have suited aces, I have a few suited broadways. I have a couple suited one gaps. I'm not assuming that he is always flatting 9-7 suited, but always folding 10-8 suited, for example. But I only included these two to kind of indicate that maybe he flats suited one gaps just part of the time. So here we have about a 12% range. So assuming he has now bet with this entire 12% range, facing our raise on this queen 3-2 rainbow flop, which of these hands can he actually proceed with against that raise? So if we go here, continue versus raise, if we add in card removal, taking away the cards on the board and in our hand, I'm approximating that he can continue with a set. 5-4 suited would give him an open-ended straight draw. I'm going to assume even that he's going to continue with pocket jacks and pocket tens, even though that's not 100% guaranteed in this spot. I believe he'll absolutely continue with aces and kings, any queen. But I'm going to assume, given that our raise looks very strong, that he's going to fold all these medium pocket pairs. He may fold tens or jacks, but again, I'm going to throw them in there as part of his continuing range, just to play devil's advocate. So as you can see here, about 3.52% of starting hands can now continue against our raise. So remember, he started with about a 12% range. So that means is he can continue against our raise about 29% of the time. And since, if you look at the math here, if you remember, there was a 310 in the pot, so we are risking 320 to win the 310 in the pot. So our bluff needs to work about half of the time to be break even. And since he can only continue in general about 29% of the time, I hope you can see, I hope you can agree that, well, if this is a line that you use only once in a while on a dry board like this, then this can be very effective and very plus EV. So that's the math behind this spot, and that's really just a short example. In the actual series, we're going to go into more depth, including talking about how to proceed on the turn when your raise actually gets flatted, the possibilities and frequencies of facing floats in this spot, and which boards and which holdings are the most and least favorable to make this play, and why. But really, the short version of this free sample hand of this entire situation is that in today's games, when someone check raises this spot in this dynamic, they usually have a monster hand or a monster draw, and the other players in the hand usually just fold. So I believe that this is an extremely underutilized bluffing spot in today's games. So continuing here, those players actually fold, and we scoop the pot, and that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this free sample video. If you have any questions at all for me, feel free to email me at yourdoomppoker@gmail.com. And if you're ready to purchase the series or would just like to see more free videos like this one, please come to my website, yourdoomppoker.com. Thanks for watching, and take care.